New York City's most selective high schools also most segregated. New York City's most elite high schools will also be the city's most segregated next school year, despite concerted efforts to increase diversity, just the latest thread in an ongoing national debate about education inequality in America. At issue is access to the city's vaunted 8 specialized schools, which include nationally recognized schools like Stuyvesant High School, the Bronx High School of Science and Brooklyn Technical High School. Each year, the 8 schools admit about 4,000 freshmen from a pool of nearly 30,000 8th graders who take the specialized high school admission test. As it stands, students are admitted purely based on test scores. Related content: white privilege in college admissions. The schools are competitive, especially among low-income families, because they're considered one of the only ways to access an elite education that virtually guarantees a pathway to college outside of enrolling in a private school. But new enrollment data shows that at Stuyvesant, the city's most selective school, just 7 black students were admitted to next year's freshman class of 895 students, which represents a decrease from 10 black students enrolled in this year's class. The majority of those admitted, 587, are Asian, while 194 are white and 33 are Latino. Those proportions are mirrored in the other entrance exam schools as well. At Bronx High School of Science, for example, 12 out of 803 students admitted are black, and 95 out of 1,825 students admitted at Brooklyn Technical High School are black. These numbers are even more proof that dramatic reform is necessary to open the doors of opportunity at specialized high schools, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said in a statement. The schools have long been segregated. Asian Americans make up 16% of the city's public school population but account for nearly 75% of students enrolled in Stuyvesant, for example, along with 66% of the students at Bronx Science and 60% of students at Brooklyn Tech. Alternately, Black and Latino students make up less than 11% of students in the specialized high schools despite accounting for more than 70% of students in New York City public schools on the whole. De Blasio has called for the specialized schools to better reflect the city's student population, but his controversial proposal to eliminate the entrance exam and instead fill the coveted seats with the top students at every middle school in the city has gotten little support from city and state politicians on both sides of the aisle. Instead, the city recently expanded its Discovery program, which allows low-income students who score high on the admission test but below the required cutoff to complete a summer program administered by the specialized high schools in order to gain admission. The new plan requires 20% of each specialized high school's incoming class to come from the Discovery program over the next 2 years. But even that policy is being challenged. Last year, a coalition of Asian American parents, civil rights groups and a parent-teacher organization filed a federal lawsuit arguing the plan discriminates against Asian Americans. The saga being played out in the largest school district in the country, which enrolls nearly 1 million children, highlights the larger issue of education inequality being debated across the country, both in the K-12 and higher education spaces. Why isn't every public school in New York City a Brooklyn Tech-caliber school? Asked Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, at an education-focused town hall meeting in Queens over the weekend. Everyone should be. Ocasio-Cortez, whose father went to Brooklyn Tech, hasn't taken a firm position on de Blasio's major proposals to diversify the schools and faced down hecklers who criticized her for it. "I understand the concern," she said. "But this right here, when we're fighting each other, is exactly what happens under a scarcity mindset.